Some of my favorite books are the books that jump between one character and another character, back and forth between the chapters. I just love to read those books because the story really changes depending on who is telling it. And so sometimes I know a little bit more than somebody else knows, or maybe I understand something differently because I'm hearing it from another character. And when you jump back and forth between characters like that, that is called perspective. The perspective of a story really affects the meaning of a story too. So as readers, it's really important that we consider who is telling the story and how that's affecting what we're reading. So our lesson target today is I can identify the perspective of a story and connect it to the story's meaning. So I'm going to go all the way back in Home of the Brave and reread the very first chapter. And we're going to think about perspective when you're listening to this, okay? Snow. When the flying boat returns to Earth at last, I open my eyes and gaze out the round window. What is all the white? I whisper. Where is all the world? The helping man greets me, and there are many lines and questions and pieces of paper. At last, I follow him outside. We call that snow, he says. Isn't it beautiful? Do you like the cold? I want to say, no, this cold is like claws on my skin. I look around me. Dead grass pokes through the unkind blanket of white. Everywhere the snow sparkles with light, hard as high sun. I close my eyes. I try out my new English words. How can you live in this place called America? It burns your eyes. The man gives me a fat shirt and soft things like hands. Coat, he says. Gloves, he smiles. You'll get used to it, Keck. I am a tall boy like all my people. My arms stick out of the coat like lonely trees. My fingers cannot make the gloves work. I shake my head. I say, this America is hard work. His laughter makes little clouds. So who is telling that story, right? It keeps saying I and he. So we know that it's somebody telling it in first person. And I think that by now we do know that Keck is telling the story, right? So he is using words like flying boat and fat shirt and things shaped like hands because he doesn't know the English words for planes and coats and gloves. So we're really getting to see from Keck's perspective how he feels coming to America, and I think that's really important in this story is for us to know Keck's exact perspective because it's really about him and everything that he's going through, right? But let's think how would this chapter be different if it was told from someone else's perspective? So another person that's in this chapter is Dave, right? Dave is the helping man as Keck refers to him. And Dave might be thinking hey, I just picked up this kid from the airport. He doesn't really speak English. He seems to be pretty confused. He's not in a great mood. He's missing his mother. We don't know where she is. He's hoping she's alive, and I'm feeling really bad because I don't really think that she is. He's probably having a hard time trying to speak in Keck's language, maybe, right? He might be giggling at some of the things Keck says because we know that he can say some funny phrases since he doesn't know English very well. He's probably maybe loving the snow, or maybe Dave doesn't like the snow either. But this story would be a lot different if it was told from Dave's perspective, right? Because we wouldn't be in Keck's head. So that's why perspective is so, so important when you're analyzing books and writing about your reading and thinking about your reading.